Hello, and welcome one, welcome all, welcome BABSCon to the Barcast, where the bar gets lower every single week. I am happily joined this evening by my lovely, lovely individuals. We have Anonpencil,
Free.
Enigmatic Otaku.
I thought this was Flutterpriest and his Barcast.
We have Flammenwerfer.
Why are you being so nice? I'm scared right now.
We have Ravvij.
Ditto.
And my name's Flutterpriest. This week, we are joining you guys here at BABSCon to do what has become a little bit of a ritual for us. Every year, we love to come over to this side of the house and interview some folks that help and run your wonderful, beautiful convention. And we're going to make it awful and weird for an extended period of time.
Yay, weird.
All I heard was every year we love to come.
Yeah.
This particular time, we are bringing on one of our great friends that puts up with our terrible antics, Diamonda Doodle, as she is in the Discord.
Hi, if you work for BABSCon and don't know who I am, you are working for the wrong con. If you guys like to come, just make sure you clean up when you're finished. We don't need any hotel bills.
Oh, I know I love to come. So, man, I just ruined everything. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
For those who have never checked us out before, feel free to check us out at thebarcast.net, where you can check out all of our things, such as our tweeters, the way that we donate and actually raise money for Horse Rescue Charity, our SoundCloud, iTunes, and so much more, as well as a bunch of wonderful people dabbing. We have some actual interview questions, and of course we're going to be streaming here on BABSCon. You guys have the opportunity to ask questions that we ask our guest. Part of what we handle here is that we don't really have a filter. If you have crazy, silly questions you want us to ask away, because we only have a few very basic rules here. What are those rules, Pencil?
Well, we don't talk about politics. We don't talk about religion. We don't talk about a bunch of fandom beefs or controversial issues. Or if you got a soapbox, this is not the time to get up on it. We're not going to talk about actual addresses or, social security numbers or anything that could get somebody doxxed. And we are rated R. So ask friggin' awful things. However, there's one other thing we do, and that is we have a drinking word. And tonight's drinking word, I'm going to tell you what it is, Priest, because we don't have it written down. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Well, the drinking word today is BABSCon.
Yes.
So anytime you hear anyone here say BABSCon, have a nice, healthy drink. We at BABSCon ask that you drink responsibly. Respect the laws of where you live. Thank you. Enjoy your time in the lab. Please don't get so wasted you have to go to the hospital again. Thank you.
Yes. That there is you may not have to shower, but please drink responsibly. But with that all said and done, let's get some of the main actual questions along the way. Diamonda, let's go with a very basic interview. Who are you and what do you do in the fandom?
Well, folks who know me call me Doodle or Sophie. And in 2013, I was recruited to kind of head up the business aspects of BABSCon, which I did for a year, and then I was the vice chair, and then basically I've kind of worked behind the scenes and worked for BABSCon to make it happen every year for folks who want to come and attend us and join the amazing con. And that's mostly what I do with regards to that. I'm known to be a bartender at other conventions. And I make alcohol.
Oh, so you're an alcoholic just like us. You're in great company.
You know, it's funny. I make alcohol and I give it all away.
Wow. So
After you taste it, right?
Of course, yeah. No, I have to taste it. I have to sample it first. But I'm an enabler.
I understand that feeling.
Well, you've definitely found yourself in good companies, drinking buddies. What we're gonna steal your alcohol. That's basically what's gonna happen here.
Next time you guys are at a convention, hit me up. I'll make sure I pack something special for you.
It's true.
I'll trade you a bottle of my mead. Deal?
You bring a bottle of mead, I'll bring a bottle of ice cider.
Fuck yeah.
I can already imagine the scenario. We walk up to you at the convention. We go, oh, give us that thing you promised. You're going to be like, who? Who are you? Where are you people?
I'd be like, here, how many bottles do you want?
I'll just be like, give me the stuff.
Okay,
Here's
now
a special drink. It's called Cirrhose.
hold on. Okay, so I just had a brainwave, and it may just be because I've been away from cons for over a year, and my heart is sad because of it. But I remember, I think it was the year that Queen Quake got married at the convention.
Yeah, that would be 2018.
Yes. There was, in the panelist green rooms, as I'll call it, the room parties, there was a jug of the most delicious apple cider that I've ever had in my life. You didn't happen to make that, did you?
Apple cider. I'm trying to think. I might have.
Oh my goodness.
Because I make so much stuff for the when BABSCon has an in-person con, I'll usually make a bunch of bottles for the staff.
Mm-hmm.
But was that the same year that the first year we did? No, 2019 was the first year we did the Brony Chef meals, and I made apple wine. I'm trying to think. What did I make that year? I probably had a hand in it. If I didn't actually.
I feel like I remember that too, because Brony Chef was such a darling. Like, he was just.
Oh, yeah.
You serve something with a hand in it? Human or other?
Other.
I need both
of my hands. I need both of my hands, and I usually brew in solitary. So.
Speaking of solitary, let's move on to the next question here. So we got the idea of kind of how you joined BABSCon, but what led you to ponies in general? How did you get into the show?
Oh, that actually lost a bet.
What?
So when my boyfriend and I were first dating, my lovely, lovely Canadian who is working at the moment, we were sharing television series that we like to watch. That was like one way we were bonding, since we live 2,000 some odd miles apart. So we were sharing like movies and television series that we liked. And he comes to me one evening and he says, I've got this show you should watch, and you're going to hate me for it. And I was like, okay, what show is it? My Little Pony. So I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I remember the 80s series. I grew up in the 80s. I remember Gen 1. I remember how bad the Gen 1 series was from my perspective as a person growing up in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And so he worked on me for a while, and eventually he comes to me and he says, I'm going to make you a bet.
Okay.
If you watch the first 6 episodes and you still hate it, I will never recommend you watch anything ever again.
Well, I have a good feeling you didn't hate it.
Well, so we decided to watch 2 episodes a night. And it was like a Monday night we watched the first 2. And I'm like, this is okay. This first 2-parter is pretty good. We started at episode 1. And then we watched the next 2. And we watched the next 2. And on Wednesday night, which was like the last 2 that we watched, he went to bed because he had to get up for work because he worked a weird schedule the next day. And I'm sitting there working late. This is back when I still occasionally did artwork and drew, and because I was just off of being an artist working in the furry fandom.
Mm-hmm.
And I was done with the furry fandom. I was finished. I wasn't joining conventions. I wasn't going to do fandoms ever again. I was so set in my ways. And how little did I know that by Thursday morning I would have called out from work because I would have stayed up all night watching season 1 and part of season 2. So that was how I got into it. I lost a bet. I straight up lost a bet. And to this day, anytime he recommends we watch something, I at least watch the first couple of episodes now. So But much to his chagrin, it cost me to get back into running conventions and having one weekend out of the year where I basically don't sleep, which is something he knew I never wanted to do again. So, you know, trade-offs, right? Trade-offs.
Of course, of course.
What part of those 6 episodes won you over?
God, I'd have to go and take a look. Mostly it was the character design and the stories they were telling. It's been a while since I watched season 1, so
Somebody look it up real quick. What were the first 6 episodes?
I'm actually on the wiki page right now. Ticketmaster, Applebuck season, Griffin Bushoff, and Boast. Actually, it was Boastbusters. I remember specifically watching Boastbusters and immediately remembering The Music Man, which was like my mom and my dad's favorite movie, musical movie growing up.
Mhm.
And they those songs and the characterization of the Flim Flam brothers stems directly from that film of
Because we've got trouble.
Yeah.
We've got trouble. Yes.
I know the
Yes.
one.
Monorail.
No, that is not Enigma. You get the Simpsons out of this discussion. Okay.
But I mean, that song, and then hearing the Super Squeezy Cider 6000 song, and I was like, oh, this show is amazing. Like, just from that alone. I mean, everything else is amazing. But, like, that was like the cherry on top, and after that, I was like, I have to watch all of it.
So the moment that won you over was the part where the alcoholic horses get more obsessed over alcohol.
Hey, which leads into an unintended answer to a question that wasn't asked. How I got into brewing was that episode.
Really? You just kind of like saw this like, oh, it can't be that hard.
No. It was. I wonder how hard it would be to make a alcoholic cider worthy of the Apple family. That was the question.
Ooh.
And so I started making hard ciders. And for a while I was making them for like the local meetup groups until they informed me delightfully that they were too high in alcohol content compared to a store-bought cider, and that they had a period of time where they had to wait several hours from the hike they were on in order to drive home because they all had too much. So I haven't made cider in a couple of years, basically since that. But I have been making ice ciders and wines and the like. But that was what got me into brewing, was that episode. Was that one question of, I wonder if I could do this.
And since then, it's just been a wonderful time, just gradually making our Babs cons better and harder to remember.
Yes, there's that. And getting folks like the Brony Chef telling me I need to do this professionally so that he could serve my wines in his restaurants and his ventures. And folks, there are a few folks that, like, if they hear I'm making something, they start offering me money to buy the bottles before I've even bottled them.
Oh.
So
I think I did that earlier, and I might have done that pre-Barcast, before I was doing the Barcast thing. I think I remember seeing there were bottles, and it was just like you could claim one, and it was on like some like forum. It was before like Discord servers even. It was like on a forum for BabsCon.
No, that was not me, because I only literally started the brewing back in like 2016, 2017. So Discord was already a thing.
Yeah, no, but it would have been like the first BabsCon that happened that I did.
Yeah, no, that was long before I started this venture. Unfortunately, I
barely remember that BabsCon for what it's worth, so it's fine.
Oh, okay. Well,
Well, speaking of barely remembering things, moving on to sort of our next major question we ask folks is, what ends up keeping you here? Like, obviously, there's the true magic of friendship is the friends we made along the way. But with that in mind, what about the Brony community makes it stick out to you as something that's worth putting in hard work and time into conventions for?
it's not any one thing. It's a bunch of things. The obviously there is this tendency within the community, and I tend to think of the Brony fandom as a community and less of a fandom, because I've been a part of other fandoms and it's really nothing quite like this. For the most part, with the exception of a few bad actors, it is largely a very friendly and very supportive bunch of folks. And creative. Oh my god, so creative. I can remember going to my first BronyCon, which is back in 2013, and walking through the vendor hall, and like, if you go to a furry convention, like 90% of what's offered is artwork, right? Like, it's just, prints or, stuff that's on, some cases, stuff that's on canvas or sketchbooks or whatever. It's artwork. But if you go through your average Brony vendor hall, you've got glassware, you've got engraving, you have sculptures, you have, right? Like, you have plushes, you've got this range of stuff that is so much more than just, pieces of artwork on a sheet of paper. And that was really appealing to me. And then, of course, the music. And I can't imagine being a part of another fandom that has this much creativity. And I like to try and give a place where folks can express and exhibit that creativity and share it with the rest of the fandom, but also have a good time. And conventions can be incredibly transformative. And so I like trying to provide a little bit of Equestria for the rest of the fandom.
A little Equestria for the Restria.
Yeah.
I kind of want to ask this because of the variety of things you see being sold at convention halls.
I mean, you're gonna ask it anyway, so I guess go ahead.
What, and this is a question for everyone, what, including those in the chat, what is the strangest item you saw being sold in a convention hall?
That's a good question.
I have to think. Like, I have to actually think about, like, what is the strangest thing I've ever seen being sold.
Like, you
in a-
stopped
I
in your
know
tracks
what the
because you needed to
strangest
look
thing
at
is.
it.
I know what the strangest
Well,
thing is.
that actually that's a lot of things, and not all of them are strange. Some of them are just so impressive I have to stop and look at them. I was at a convention where, and this was back when they were first making a name for themselves, where Bad Dragon actually had a table.
Yes, I remember because I flipped out. Yes, I remember this.
That was Further Confusion one year.
Yes,
and
yes,
it was the first year that they'd even existed. And that was the first year I'd see, and they were told, like, originally they didn't have any, like, covering over their stuff, like, the first day they were open. And the con staff had to come through and tell them, please cover up your wares. We're not telling you to stop selling them, but you can't have them available because we are a family convention.
I can only imagine little Timmy walking by. I was like, wow, those are weird looking lava lamps.
Yeah. That's probably the strangest single item. I'm actually very proud, and Dexis in the Twitch chat is mentioning the full tattoo parlor that we always have a tattoo artist. And that to me was impressive. It's not the strangest thing, but it's probably one of the more impressive things I've seen set up at a convention table, is the tattoo artist.
For me, and I'm sure there's stranger things, but I can't remember them at the moment. But one thing I do remember that was kind of odd but cool at the same time was, and I think Milk bought this, our buddy Milk, who's not here right now, he bought a My Little Pony guitar that was made out of lunch boxes.
That was Dusty.
Yeah,
Dusty
Dusty
Cat,
was selling those. Yeah.
I want to buy one of those. I can play one now.
Reach out to him. He still occasionally makes them, lunchbox guitars. I've actually don't have the money, but at the time I was learning to play guitar, I wanted to have him do me a fancy Flying V Rainbow Dash guitar. but I didn't have the money, so.
That
So
it does remind me, like, so Enigma shared something about, like, so the weird con thing, and it flashed me back to so I did a deep dive on this, and it was not me in this video, but when I was at the final BronyCon and I was going around, there was this really cute there was a display of Dakimakuras. And, there are some Dakis that are like, oh, it's actually kind of nice, it's kind of cute. And there's some that are just like, I can't believe they're showing this. And there were a few that were definitely more on the cuter side. They were like, it was the Cutie Mark Crusaders, but there were these little throw pillows like you would put on a couch. And they were like tiny ones. I was like, oh, that's so cute.
Until you turn them over.
No, well, no. So there
He's
wasn't
right, though.
anything on the other side, or at least if I didn't go and look.
You didn't want to ruin the magic.
But I was. I say that because I was watching a particular YouTube video of. I'm not going to say the channel or whatever, but those same throw pillows were mentioned in the YouTube video, and far off in the distance, you can hear someone say loudly, "That's so cute!" And the YouTube commenter someone's like, "Well, that guy likes it." Like, oh no, was that me? So I hyper watched this video like for 5 minutes, analyzing this 2 seconds of text to make sure it wasn't me, and I don't think it was, but oh man,
it was definitely you.
no,
I mean,
don't do that.
It could have been. I mean, I've gotten so used to doing things where I'm in the stage or on the spotlight that, like, anymore I'm just like, oh, someone filmed me. Okay, whatever. Like, it doesn't even. I don't even think about it anymore.
Oh man, it's just one of those weird things where just like you go like, oh gosh, who's the guy that went around and would film all the things that were happening at conventions and stuff, and just like you like Saber Spark and AC Race Best, when they would go around, they'd film stuff from cons and be like, oh, I'm in that, that's me there.
Yeah,
Little Shy also does that.
Yeah,
I think Little Shy. There was a gentleman who used to do it for fur cons. Actually, he was at every convention, and he and I would talk about photography and filming things. And I saw him at BABSCon, I think, twice, and then I haven't seen him since. So I hope he's okay, because we used to hang out a lot when I used to staff Further Confusion, but I haven't seen. You do the conventions for so long that like you get used to seeing the same faces, and then suddenly those faces aren't there, and you're like, what happened to them?
mm-hmm.
So I hope he's okay.
Does anyone remember? This was not being sold. It was just there in the convention hall. But do you guys remember the Sweetie Bot? The functional Sweetie Bot?
Yes, that was cool.
As much as I enjoy Memory Lane, we maybe should ask some questions.
That's true. Yes. The next question is a personal one that I'm going to grab before we begin going out to the threads. Obviously, conventions have radically changed over the last 2 years for reasons. And without dwelling on that too much, I know that there's I'm not going to say stigma, but an idea that pony cons are slowly decompressing. Like, we have BronyCon gone. Do we see any possibility that these online conventions are strong enough, kind of prominent enough, that we're going to continue them for years upon years upon years? Is that something that BABSCon is interested in, even longer after in-person conventions?
So I have this idea. I'm one of these people that views conventions as a really complicated thing that could be a lot more than what most people think of conventions being.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I think the online events, the online events, I honestly think that they have a place, and that they can exist even concurrently with in-person conventions. I think that right now there's online convention fatigue because, like, for a while everybody was doing one and there was one every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And too much of a good thing will eventually cause people to burn out on it. But I think that having online events allows you to do things that you can't do at an in-person con.
Oh yeah.
Have guests that you can't normally get because they don't like to travel, or they live on the other side of the world, and having them is just too prohibitively expensive. The internet in that regard is a great equalizer. Will they take the place of in-person conventions? I don't think they will. There is something from an online convention that you just don't get. But you do get it with an in-person con, right? Like you show up and there's something about being in that environment in that moment that you can't really duplicate.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, like that's one of the reasons why I view conventions very differently than perhaps people who are only just starting to attend them, is that conventions are a place where the outside world for a weekend doesn't entirely exist.
Mm-hmm.
You are in an isolated microcosm that is with other people who see things, or at least are fans of the same things that you are living, like that share that same passion with you, and you can be yourself with them for the most part. And you can't do that in the real world. And it's so you don't get that with the virtual con
Right.
as much. So
And I'll completely echo that, because like between like BabsCon taking a shot at us, Charlie and HRPC giving Barcast kind of a shot. The whole reason why our interview show works and exists is entirely because of the internet. Because me, Anonpencil, Enigma, Flam, Rav, and Milk, we could not talk to any of the people, whether it's Aurora Dawn, if you're familiar with them on Finfic, or Mike, Rob Cakerin, that guy who wrote My Little Dashie, Andrea Libman, Prince Whatever, you name them, we've tried to talk to them. We couldn't get in touch with these people if we had to wait for every single in-person convention that existed. And so in a lot of ways, like when we've seen these kind of online conventions, it's kind of like, oh, we just get to kind of do what we do every week, but on a different, platform, different stage. And while we miss in-person conventions, this feels very doable going forward. Like for those who have never listened to our show, we've got literally over 200 episodes out on iTunes and SoundCloud and stuff like that of all of the different interviews we've done, and there's very few repeats. Lots of great stuff out there, but we definitely miss seeing each other in person, to the point that we've had multiple times we just got together in a room and just we miss each other.
I'm dragging 2 of these jackholes up to stay with me for a couple days next month. I just need to tell them when, ain't that right?
Yes.
Our volunteered kidnapping.
Well, yeah, nope. That's how house party of 3 is happening. So there you go.
Oh yes.
But with that in mind, keep in mind that we are watching the chats to relay questions to our guest here. Part of this, what makes our little weird format work, is that we do make our guests miserable. And so now it's time to ask questions we've got from our Finfic question thread. The lovely Anonpencil and everyone else is watching the chats. So put your questions in the chats, put in some sweet Fs, throw us some memes, and let's go check out the... is it the 16th island in the Grecian island? 16th Grecian island?
First of all, how dare you? Second of all, how dare you? And third of all, Among Us. There you go.
Yes, okay. RK Striker JK5 is up first, who asks, what is your favorite non-MLP franchise, Doodle?
Oh, that's a tough one for me, because I've been involved in sci-fi fandoms for so long. It's a toss-up between Star Trek and Star Wars, actually.
Good choices. Good choices. Good choices.
Next question go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Next question that we got is: have you had the opportunity to do any sort of fanfic, fan art, or fan-created works for non-MLP franchise?
Well, as a matter of fact, I have written for Middle-earth, Iron Crown's Middle-earth role-playing. I am a published author.
Yay!
For them.
Nice.
I wrote for the Kinstrife campaign back in the day under a name that no one will probably be able to spot or recognize because that was a lifetime ago. I also did fight choreography indirectly for Lucasfilm fan groups. I was part of Saber Guild for many years. So yeah, I have. I've done fanfic sort of and fan art, if you consider lightsaber combat on stages as fan art. It's performance art, I suppose. And I've written a few things here and there, but nothing recent, nothing within the last few years. Mostly because I guess I've been just kind of busy and creatively drained the last few years.
I've been there. It's weird that now we have time to do things and we're too drained to actually get it done.
Does that.
Next set of questions come from Alex _, who starts with woohoo! Number 1, what is the secret? The big secret.
Ooh. Oh, I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
I mean, is that an offer? Because
I'm dead inside anyway. Go right
yeah,
ahead.
I mean, like, if this is an offer, I'll take you up on it.
Oh yeah. Big secret. The big secret is I never intended to be this highly placed in BABSCon.
You just accidentally pulled yourself up in the ranks.
No, I was voluntold, actually.
Oh.
When I started, I said, I'm not really interested in staffing another con, but I'll help you execute this one, provided I don't have to do any work during the con itself. Like, those were my terms back in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And the very first staff meeting I was introduced as, because I'm a bookkeeper by trade,
Mm-hmm.
I was introduced as the head of business at the first in-person staff meeting, and I was just offering to manage the money and not actually be in charge of business.
Oh no!
Just so we paid all of our bills on time and existed. So the big secret is I never intended for this to happen, but I just don't know what went wrong.
Or as we say, ass backwards into horse fame.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah. I got drug up onto stage and made vaguely horse famous.
But that's fine though, right? Because conventions are only fun and are never hard and never takes any work. I mean, most of the time when you're on staff, you're just kind of getting drunk and meeting John Delancey, right? Like,
no, actually, the people I've been repeatedly supposed to hang out with who are guests of honor, like I see them for 5 minutes during opening or closing ceremonies, and that's it. It's interesting. Because you wouldn't think it's a lot of work. We make it look sometimes like not a lot of work, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of work, but the rewards are well worth it. Seeing people enjoying themselves and having fun and knowing that you made it happen is like, there's nothing like it.
I think that's totally fair and a resounding support of helping out in cons. We do have one question out in the chat that I'm pulling from. Dexus Strider asks in the Twitch chat, did you cry watching The Last Problem? And why is the answer, of course?
Okay, so I watched The Last Problem several times. I watched it initially with a very small group of people, and we all had to mute our mics because we were bawling our eyes out. I watched it with a much larger group, and many of us had to mute our mics. And then I watched it with my boyfriend because he got me started on this ride, and by damn it, he was going to watch the last episode with me, and we both had to mute our mics because we cried.
Aww.
And I haven't watched it since because I know it will make me cry. Because it is the accumulation of the journey of all of those characters, and it's the end of that journey. So it's both a happy crying and sad crying because, like, not getting any more.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also passing the torch on to a new cast of characters, and to a degree that torch passing was symbolic, passing that torch on to us as bronies to tell our own stories in that world and with those characters. And so, like, when people say, "Oh, the fandom's dead because the series is gone," it's like, no, you weren't paying attention to that last episode. That last episode was them saying, "Now the story's in your hands."
It's totally. I mean, it's so true. Which is why we immediately need to add Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, that is step one.
Okay. First off, I'm okay with adding Sonic, but we can't add the fandom because, holy shit, if you want a fandom full of drama, Sonic fandom, okay?
Yeah. I mean, we're not much better.
Well,
but yeah, no, we don't need to compound it.
No. I mean, I'm a fan of Sonic too. It's just I'm not really much for fandoms outside of the Brony fandom anymore. So
I think that's really fair. Like, I got into the Undertale fandom for a while, and
I was gonna ask, what about the furdom?
So in 2008, after many years of staffing FurCon and feeling taken for granted, and many years of dealing with the drama in the furdom, I decided I was done with them. Now, I still attend FurCon. Further Confusion is kind of my home con. I run a room party there, but I'm not really connected. I'm not really connected to the furry fandom or furry community anymore, in the way I used to be. Like, I used to split tables with people and hang out with folks who were doing artwork, and I was invited to closed room art jams for many, many years. And I kind of ducked out of that in 2008 because I was done. I was so burned out. I was done.
That's fair and good for me to know as somebody who also regularly attends FurCon and maybe dragging people with me next time.
Oh, well, come to the BABSCon party and I will serve you alcohol.
I remember.
It's Pencil and I went to that con at least once, and it was cool.
Flam and Enigma went with me to the con most recently, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember the foreboding fortune that it gave Pencil.
Yeah, actually, I did a lovely person by the name of Horizon did a. What was the name of the card game? It was basically.
It was a secret Shipfic Twilight card
they
game.
did it like tarot cards, and I asked a question about BABSCon the upcoming year, and the card that was drawn was like the end of the world, and I kind of laughed about it. But here we are.
Yeah, Horizon. That would be. I think I know Horizon as Baxel. Yeah, or Basil. Actually, the X is pronounced as an S.
He is good people. That's all there is to it.
He is good people. He was the lead writer for BABSCon Theme Department 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no shit. We know somebody who was a writer for Theme Department, don't we? What was his name?
Enigma.
I know.
It's right on the tip of my tongue.
I know the person who ran Theme for many years. I know the person who came up with Theme for many years. So, no, he was our lead writer for 2017, and in fact, he is the reason why I keep the stuff behind the bar to make lychee gimlets at FurCon.
Okay, so he's the reason for that?
He is the reason for that.
I owe him another thanks. Horizon, wherever you are, I think well of you.
I will tell him thanks in person at Everfree Northwest for him and our community guests. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Speaking of Horizons tarot card reading, the second card after the end of the world was this very second card was Hostile Takeover.
So, what was our guest thing?
Oh no, I was gonna say, like, He waited 45 minutes to get one of those gimlets, which is
Aw.
why
Cutie pie.
like I straight up like I keep a bottle of lychee liqueur behind the counter just for him. So
Speaking of liquor, for all of the folks playing at home, Babscon. I needed that. Okay. Number 2. What is the best green vegetable?
oh, Romanescu, definitely.
I've
The
never
hell
heard
is
of
that?
this.
It's a type of broccoli, but it's a type of broccoli that's really tightly packed, so you can cut it into like thick steak-like shapes and cook it.
It sounds like a reverse broccolini because like that's the super skinny long broccoli.
Yeah, I actually am growing rapini, which is another version of broccolini,
Hmm.
on my patio. But yeah, I like Romanescu because I can basically make a 1 inch thick flat kind of vegetable steak and use like a lemon sauce or lemon like a lemon miso kind of sauce on it, and it's so good.
I was gonna say that sounds a lot like the Impossible vegetable, the opposite of the Impossible burger. But then I realized that would imply it's a vegetable made out of meat.
Yeah, no, it is an amazing thing, and I thought I would never like broccoli quite that much, and I absolutely love that particular strain of broccoli. Um,
How do you spell it? I want to Google it. I want to see what it looks like.
Romanesco. I have to look up the spelling.
Sounds
Hold on.
extremely
Found
Romanian,
it.
though.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
It
Speaking
does
of
not look
tricking,
like what I thought it would look.
it doesn't look like broccoli at all, does it? It's in the
No.
broccoli. It's in the broccoli family.
What was that, Free?
I was going to say, speaking of tricking people into eating their vegetables for a change, Invisibrony asks, who do you plan on tricking into replacing you for BabsCon Doodle?
Well, see, there's a problem with that. I over the last several years, I've actually hunted down and recruited people who to fill various roles that I filled within the con, and the a couple of them have had to leave for a variety of reasons, or just didn't, they outgrew the role, or their lives grew in different directions, and so tricking someone to replace me really isn't the best idea because some of the stuff I do is legally really necessary, like filing taxes for the con.
Oof.
And I would like to hand them to someone who I know can do the job. And the last person that had them, who we thought could do the job, didn't do the job at all and created a massive problem for us in 2018, 2019, which I then had to resolve. I mean, it was a team effort to resolve it, but so I'm very wary of tricking someone to replacing me. I would like to have someone replace me who has their eyes completely open and not trick them.
So clones.
Eyes on
Clones
the
is
inside.
plan.
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. Number 3. Alex wants to know, give us the outline for the next great American novel.
I think it's already been written. I'm sure. Yeah, I don't really have I'm not good at outlines.
Step 1. Add Sonic.
Yeah,
Step
add
2.
Sonic. Start. Oh, no. Step 1. Start with a person who's never attended a convention experiencing a convention for the first time.
And then step 2, that convention is DashCon.
Oh,
Step 3, Sonic. Step 4, Profit.
there you go. Yes.
Step 5, they end
Yeah,
up in the
yeah.
ball pit.
Number 4. Do you like it green, red, or purple?
Purple, usually.
Purple's a good color.
It's one of my favorites, actually.
Ooh. Number 5. Story time. Have you ever seen a ghost?
Or something else spooky. Yes, actually, I can honestly say that I will I will cop to having seen something I would consider as a ghost. I'm one of these rare people who has memories from like when I was a year or so old.
Uh-huh.
And I can remember the place that my parents had before moving to California. And I remember waking up late at night and seeing this kind of outline of something roaming around my bedroom and then coming towards me. And then the next thing I remember is that I've gotten up and am trying to get to my parents' room. And that's kind of where the memory ends. I vaguely remember seeing my parents in bed, vaguely. But my next memory after that is sitting in the back of a Pinto on the way to California. So, yeah, I can only presume it's a ghost or because it was see-through. So I'm presuming it was a ghost. But, it could have been a hallucination. I was like a year old at the time, so who knows?
I like the sentence that you threw out. Vaguely remember seeing my parents in bed.
Yeah.
Are you winning, Dad?
Well, they were asleep.
All right.
So
That's what you think. Sorry to make this awful. Let's please move on. I'm sorry. God's trick.
Alexa, play Despacito.
Don't wake Daddy.
No, please, for the love of God, read the next question. Please.
Exactly how many eggs have you consumed in the last year?
20.
This is important. It must be an exact number.
It's 20 then.
20 eggs. That's
That's a lot of eggs.
I was hoping you'd say 50 so I could respond, no one can eat 50 eggs. And then no one would get the restaurants, and I would be sad.
Do you dislocate your jaw and just swallow them whole? Like a snake?
No, actually, I fry them over easy because apparently I'm one of the few home cooks in the world that can do over easy eggs with flipping the eggs, and put them on sandwiches.
Ooh. Every time I try to flip an egg, it breaks.
Yeah,
I can flip an egg. It takes a very special and quick touch. The secret is quick, not slow. Frankly.
That's right. Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Glad to know. I over easy eggs is something I can do. I am not shit at it. But I'll tell you what, if I start to think about it too long and I start to get hesitant about it and I start just doing that little like half flip motion because I'm afraid I'm going to smear it, I 10 times out of 10 will ruin it.
I have actually pan flipped an over easy egg.
How dare you?
Not recently. I haven't done it recently because I've been at home and it's always like 50-50 if it breaks or not. But
I gotta say, like, either you got like the best non-stick pans, the best non-stick spray, or like the softest touch. So
combination of probably.
Well, I suppose that just goes to show everyone, if you gotta go fast, not slow, and if it breaks along the way, just deal with it. It will be fine.
Yeah, if it breaks, I turn it into an omelet.
Or you throw some like day old rice in there and soy sauce and just make it happen.
Oh yeah.
If you're not careful with that egg, it's going to be your responsibility for the next 18 years.
Someday the Brony Chef is going to do an Iron Chef competition at BABSCon, and they're going to give us like frying pans and a hot plate, and they're going to be like, make something. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be me, and it's going to be you standing there competing. And you're going to make that fucking egg flip, and I'm just going to start to cry. That's what's going to happen. You realize that.
Maybe. I mean, an Iron Chef, Brony Iron Chef competition was something that has been thrown around for a few years. So.
I would love to participate in this. So, like, over the...
Priest.
What?
I'm going to participate in this. Are you sure you want to?
Yeah, I could beat you.
Let it be known for the record.
For the record, Pencil's the one teaching me to cook.
Yeah.
No, even Alex Gurnishelli eventually beat the Iron Chef she trained under.
I would love to see Priest try to make a better souffle than me. Come on, you bitch.
Oh no, I couldn't do a souffle. No, if that's what we're playing, oh no. But I can make a better steak.
You saw my fucking summer squash zucchini cheese tart that stood on its own with a cold water crust. You bitch, come at me, Mary Berry.
Let it be known that I can make a really damn good ham sandwich. Okay,
But I can soft boil
I
an
make-
egg
Come at
better
me.
than Pencil.
I make a mean cereal.
I'll just deep dish pizza y'all, and you all be screwed.
Milk then cereal.
That's a
then
casserole,
bowl.
not a pizza.
That's why we call it a pie.
Okay, I mean that's fair.
Actually, I'm in. That's reasonable.
Is cereal a gazpacho?
I hate you
A
for
soup.
even saying that. Ugh.
Okay. Level Dasher in the chat is upset that we made his Alexa play Despacito. I'm sorry. Here's your revenge. Hey Google, play Despacito. Okay. And then oh no.
You're so
You turned
bad.
on my Google, you son of a bitch!
We're gonna move on to the next set of questions.
No, we
Okay.
got to round it out. Hey Siri, play Despacito.
No, phone. You shut up. You shut
All
up.
right.
You shut up. Okay, stop.
Hey, Bixby, play Despacito.
Okay, that's everyone. That's everyone. Okay.
Well, we left out Cortana, but no one cares about Cortana. All right.
Ooh,
Hey,
got
Cortana,
him.
play Despacito.
Ooh, got
All
him,
right.
Dabs.
God, clicking my computer. Stop.
Glim Master is up next. Number 1, how do you feel running BabsCon?
Tired, like straight up tired and fulfilled. I might bitch and moan about it, and I do to my friends, to folks that even to fellow staff members. But at the end of the day, I'm not going anywhere. I enjoy it too much.
Good. As long as you're enjoying what you're doing, it's all worth it at the end of the day, probably.
Oh yeah, yeah, most of the time.
Next question is, how do you make the worst pony become the best pony?
You tell a story that talks about why the pony is so bad, and you give them an arc that makes them into best pony.
I don't think I could do that with spoiled milk.
You could try, man.
It would have to be a really good story, but it is possible.
Next question, number 3. What is the best moment and the worst moment that you can share that you had during a BabsCon?
Well, the best moment was probably performing my friend Fiera's wedding at BabsCon 2018.
Shout out to Fee.
Yeah, shout out to Fee. She actually, we were talking about our wedding, and she wanted to have it at BabsCon, and I'm like, okay, what would you like? How would you like to do it? I said, I want to keep it a kind of a small ceremony, and I'd like you to perform the wedding. So I had to go and research how to perform a wedding because I'd never done it before. And like, there's certain things you have to say, and there's like a certain script you have to kind of follow close to the script, but not entirely. Like, there's leeway, but there's certain things you have to say, and it has to be phrased in a certain way, and et cetera, et cetera. And there has to be footage of it. Like, you have to have witnesses. And then afterward, you could sign the marriage license, which has nothing to do with whoever performs the wedding. Like, that's a legal thing. You go to the nearest like city building or city hall and file paperwork that says I'm now married. But that was probably my best moment. I had fun coming up with the ceremony and the things I was going to say, and working in the elements of harmony into the ceremony itself, and it was fun.
Aww.
It was good. And the worst moment
Oh boy.
is the entire sense of helplessness I felt at one point when I was vice chair in 2015.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
I was in a position where the con chair was off site. No one could get in touch with her. I had my head of ops quit.
Whoa.
I had someone come up to me and say, "Oh, my condolences to this guest of honor and the emergency that this guest of honor is undergoing, and we really hope that they're okay." And it was one of the
Jesus.
voice actors that we had
Oh,
that year.
Jesus.
And I'm thinking, Okay, this is the first I've heard about this. This is one of our high roller sponsors who's come to me and who's saying like, so something's happened. I have the head of VIPR here. Let me talk to him and see what's going on. And I was on my way to ops to try and head off the situation there with the head of ops quitting and deciding to walk off site. And I flagged down the VIP, the guy in charge of VIP, and I'm like, dude, tell me what's going on with this guest of honor, because I've got sponsors coming up to me, and this is important. If something's going on, I need to know because I'm the person on site. Like, I have to be able to make these decisions. And he's like, I don't know. This is the first I've heard about it. And so it was like I suddenly had no control over my own convention, and I'm the only one there who's supposed to have control over it. And I felt so isolated and so alone and so just helpless because I had there was nothing I could do. I just felt like there was nothing I could do. And in venting my frustration, it's the first time I've ever lost my temper being in charge of anything in like 10 or 15 years. And I actually hauled off and I punched one of the pillars.
Wow.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah, I was that stressed. I just full on laid into the pillar, and the head of VIPR just got this really shocked look on his face and was like, holy shit, we're not going to make it. Like that, like
Doodle smash.
Yes, yeah, doodle smash. Like, it was so, fortunately, I was able to convince. Well, I didn't convince Simon to return, but someone under me saw me lose my shit and stepped in and said, "Look, I'll talk with Simon," and was able to convince Simon to come back. Simon came and talked to me and said, "I will come back only if this." And then I talked to the VIPR and found out that it was like a damage control email that had gone out that I hadn't been aware of, that the head of VIPR hadn't actually been aware of, and it actually wasn't what it was. Like it was related to something that was supposed to happen that couldn't. And it was a damage control thing to kind of smooth that over. But the way it was taken by that particular, so like that I think scarred me for life.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
It was so horrible. And that was and like the convention went off amazingly well for 90% of the attendees.
Mm-hmm.
But for me it was horrible. It was probably my worst BABSCon, I think. Yeah.
But usually, like, out of those, sore experiences, the silver lining is that then it gives you guys ideas of what can change or improve from convention to convention. So that way, by the time, you're coming into, BABSCon 2022, it's going to be the best ran, smoothest convention ever that doesn't have any badged lines. Everything's fun. Nothing goes wrong. How many more things can I say that jinx this?
I mean, at the end of the day, like it's like we've solved all the old problems. Now it's all new problems.
Yes.
So but the fact that we're here for 2022 is mind blowing to me, because when I first signed on to this thing, I even remember telling Sonia, and I remember telling my boyfriend that this con won't last more than 2 years.
Holy shit! Did you really?
I straight up, I told Sonia, I said, this is a great idea, but it's a flash in the pan. It's not going to last. Like, I hope it lasts, but I can guarantee you, I said, it'll be gone maybe 3 years. Maybe 3 years. But certainly 2 years is probably our limit. And here we are. We're coming up. Next year, I think, will be year 9, maybe 10. I'd have to actually go and do the weird kind of math about the BABSCon numbering. But it's like, it's insane that we have lasted this long and that we're still relatively stable. And so we'll probably be here for at least another year or two. Mm-hmm. And we do have plans to last beyond that. in the sense of like ways we can adjust what we're doing to be a little less pony focused, which I know people hate that, but you have to bring in content. You have to bring in attendees, otherwise you don't exist for very long. It's kind of like the Doctor Who conventions of the 90s, right? Like they were like 30 to 50% Doctor Who and then 50% general sci-fi. And that was how they brought in the other attendees in order to keep doing the content that they wanted to do. And so we've thought about doing that for a while, but with Gen 5 coming out, Gen 5, I like the character designs. So if the writing's good, I strongly suspect we'll be around for quite a while longer.
Oh yeah, but it'd be hubris to think that would be the same sort of flash in the pan that Gen 4 would have.
No, and it won't be. But just because it's not going to be lightning in a bottle doesn't mean it won't be good.
Oh, trust me, I think the Mystery Science Theater 3000 content that we're going to get from bronies that love Gen 4 for Gen 5 is going to be amazing. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've got some more questions. Just another reminder for those who are listening in, we are paying attention to the Twitch chat. Feel free to throw in some questions there. Next question that we've got is, what superpower would you like to have?
Shifting. It's either that or teleportation.
Ooh.
Fair enough.
What was the first one? I didn't hear it.
Shape shifting.
Yeah,
and
shifting. I didn't know what that was.
Here's the thing. I agree with this wholeheartedly because most people, when they think shape-shifting, think like, oh, only sentient things like animals. No, fuck that noise. I want to be a sentient airplane, and you can do that with shape-shifting, and no one can tell you not to because you're a fucking shapeshifter.
Right.
Are you saying I can shapeshift into JJ the airplane?
You could be Optimus motherfucking Prime. Hey, Flam, hit us with Optimus Prime's opinion on this, if you would. If he's ready.
Oh God, you're bringing me back to that story, and I really don't want to go back to that fucking.
I can turn myself into Skeletor.
No.
What do you want me to say as Optimus Prime?
What is your opinion on becoming Optimus Prime through shapeshifting?
Well, I would be like, by all means, come inside me, Autobots.
Oh my God.
Thank you. That's all I want. We can continue now.
Nice.
Number 5, and my critical disappointment. During your life, did you sit down on your chair and ask yourself, why do I like this colorful Equins?
So, song references aside, yes. I do, occasionally. And then I watch some episodes, and my questions is answered.
Okay. Now this...
One more.
This next question, it's very clearly a reference to something, and I have no idea what it is. And I'm going to be very furious if it turns out to be something obvious. Chat,
Good
hopefully
luck.
you figure it out. Number 6. A very eccentric man is sitting in a couch. His face is covered with the most refined, réconcilié? I don't. That has a little tilde, and I don't know French. And the man has a big smile on his face. A person sitting on the left side of the happy man asks him a question that made the man's smile fade away. However, despite him not having a smile anymore, he answers the question furiously. What answer do you think he said?
Well, I can tell you what the question probably is, and the answer he probably said is, Applejack is not a background pony.
It's funny because it's wrong.
Yes. I mean, Chef would kill me for that, but
Applejack is a very great, well-defined background character.
You can't not smile when saying that, huh? You son of a bitch.
But hey, I love that they made Big Mac a main character. Like, this is great.
And he only ever says like one or two things. It's amazing.
That's Big Mac for you. Just
He's
ease up
so
the screen.
refined, displaying so many emotions.
It's like I am Groot, right?
Oh yeah, it's his catchphrase. All right, Milk is up next. He left some questions so that way we weren't all alone. Oh, Milk. Next question is number 1. I've always wanted to know about the logistical challenges you face when it comes to running a con. With all the departments and people involved, there are probably times when pieces of the puzzle don't exactly fall into place at the right time. Man, if only we knew, right? Are there examples of times when things didn't work out exactly as planned?
Yes. Every year there is something that just doesn't work for one reason or another. The first year we did theme, for example, theme was supposed to be a little more expansive in what we did, and we were supposed to have a little bit more of a budget. But no one had any faith in the concept of what you could do by using a convention to tell a story and interact with the attendees on that level. So things didn't quite execute the way I wanted them to, but they did execute, and folks were happy enough with it that it's become kind of a staple thing for the con. But yeah, there are always something that just doesn't pull together in quite the right way, and you always feel so bad about it afterward. But like you can really only do the best you can in that moment.
Okay, and then the next question is on the flip side. Were there any times that you were worried something was just gonna flop, just go awful, but went off really well, and in fact maybe better than expected?
Yeah, the first year of BABSCon.
That's completely fair.
Like straight up, the first year of BABSCon, like everything going into the con weekend was like I was so worried that we were going to totally fail, and that because we had 1,400 pre-reg, so which was pretty good. Like 1,400 pre-reg is pretty good for a first year con, and I'm thinking, okay, great, so they're all going to show up, and it's going to be a disaster, and no one's ever going to want to come back. And Wednesday before the con, I get a call from the con chair telling me that the hotel's going to kick us out.
Oh,
for
no.
example. Like, straight up Wednesday night, I'm thinking, okay, is the business office open? Our hotel liaison isn't here. I can't, like, I have to go talk with the hotel, find out what the real issue is, and negotiate with them and make it work. Because I don't know where our hotel liaison is. And so I guess I'm it, because the con chair and vice chair are panicking, and I'm not.
Oh, wow.
So, like, and Thursday morning, of course, I went down and smoothed things over and convinced them to let us stay, and what they wanted paid, because they wanted a certain amount of money that just, it wasn't available because the con hadn't happened and we didn't have our at-con reg at that point in time. And I knew we had enough people coming in to pay the hotel bill, because I knew what the hotel bill was going to be. But we didn't have the money in hand. Like, it was locked up in Square at the time, because we were using Square as one of our payment processors. So I was like, I have this much. So I went down that morning. I was like, I have this much money in Square. I can't get it to you until Friday. And they're like, okay, make sure you pay this thing before Friday, end of day Friday. And so I went in. I had cash from registration from pre-reg Thursday night. I had a certain amount of money that had been transferred over to the bank account, and I still didn't have the majority of the money in Square. Square hadn't transferred it.
Oh, wow.
So I had $20K in Square. I couldn't touch it. And it wasn't going to go through until Monday. So I went to them. I said, look, I'm this much short. I could pay you this in cash right this second, and I could go to the bank and get the rest. And the guy looks at this pile of cash, which was like $6,000 in cash, by the way. It wasn't like, It was like a lot for me. It was a lot of cash to have in cash. He leans over. He looks at the reg line, which has gone up the stairs and past the front of the business office at the time. And like, there's still people waiting in line to pick up their badges and buy new badges. And he looks at this line and he looks back at me and says, "No, you guys are good. Just get it to me Monday or Tuesday." But that was the that first year. Oh, I didn't think it was going to come together, and it just more or less fell together perfectly. So that's why we're still here. Is that first year?
I mean, that's always the big fear, right? Is when you don't have enough attendees to offset your costs, and then that's it. What else are you gonna do? You're done.
Yeah, you have to kind of. There's like a balancing act with that, and we've had to do it every year. But every year they've been really forgiving for us because we have that proven history now. And in fact, they've actually gone out of their way to make things better for us on several occasions, just because we have that history with them. But even still, that first year, pins and needles, I think, was for most of us.
The next question then from Milk is, what is your most memorable moment at BABSCon? We touched on a few different things, but I'm sure there's just tons of memories we could glean.
There's a couple. I think the biggest one is Fiera's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was an accumulation of a friendship that was there was I met Fiera in 2016 as a replacement for an actor that dropped out of theme, and did not know this person at all, and we've become very close friends over the intervening 4 or 5 years. And so that was an absolute joy and delight, and one of the memories I remember and still hold to. The look on the Brony Chef's face when at the end of 2018 or 2019, it was 2019, when he had finally gotten to actually do something he'd been dreaming of since he'd gotten into the pony community, that he wanted to do meals based on the show and serve them to the fan base. And I managed to work out a way that we could give that to him. The look on his face is something that will always stick with me. And the ending of 2015 also sticks with me, because it was like, it's over. And people seem to have a good time and enjoy it, and that was after, the end of that weekend was like a breath of fresh air, but it was also really good because everyone had a good time, and no one realized how bad things had felt behind the scenes. And then the last one was the brother of the son of one of my coworkers, which sounds weird, who had come to the con to escort his brother, who was a huge brony, who at the end of the convention came up to me and said, "Sophie, I just want to say thank you for putting on this event, and I want to tell you something." And he flung open his coat, and he was like, from neck to feet, had been like layered in pony merchandise. He said, "I've joined the herd," and he had this manic glee to his face because he'd come to the con just to watch his brother, because he wasn't really a fan.
Oh my god!
He is now.
And he later joined staff and did a bunch of stuff and helped us out a great deal. But he went from having no friends and no social life and no drive to coming to the con, experiencing our convention, and coming back home. And his mother, who I worked with at the time, came to me and said, "What have you done with my son?" And I'm sitting here going, "What? Nothing. I just ran a convention." "No, you don't understand. He's responsible, and he grew up. He's got a life, and he's looking for jobs, and no longer just sitting around playing video. What the hell did you do to him?" So it was pretty funny.
Hey, Priest.
Yes.
So that thing we're supposed to do 1 hour in
Oh yeah, let's do that 1 hour in thing.
that I mentioned it behind the counter for everyone to see, but that's fine. Anyway, hey Priest,
Hey, Pencil.
what do we do with the money we make at the Barcast?
I'm happy you asked. It turns out that we take all the money that we glean from our YouTube revenue, our iTunes revenue, our ad revenue, 100% of what we do while it's still an ad-free podcast, and we donate that money to Red Wings Horse Sanctuary out in mid-California. There, our patrons have voted, and we have a horse by the name of Little Bit, and he's just a cutie.
He's a miniature horse.
Over the last few years, we've been able to, with your guys' help, donate over thousands of dollars to help benefit him, get his hoofsies trimmed, get him fed, get him doctor's appointments and things like that. But, this is a living creature we're talking about, and we could always use more help. The way that you can help us with our charitable endeavors and make us look and pretend to be a reasonable organization to places like BABSCon is by checking out our Patreon, where we have that money funnel in the Barcast name to Red Wings Horse Sanctuary, where we sponsor a little bit. In addition, you can also donate bits on Twitch. There's a whole way of how to do that there. Right now, all bits go to BABSCon. Please support BABSCon. And, of course, any proceeds that we get from the Patreon today will be donated to Red Wings Horse Sanctuary. So thank you so much, everyone, for your help. Pencil, did I cover everything?
Yep, but also you forgot to say that you a bitch.
Oh,
Gotta say it.
I'm a bitch.
Yeah!
There we go. Anonpencil's not wrong.
I mean, it's true.
It's true. But I'm your bitch.
Also true. Next question.
Number 3. Do you prefer Coke or Pepsi? RC is an acceptable substitute.
RC.
Really?
I actually get RC powdered mixes and make
Interesting.
RC sodas using my soda stream.
What?
Oh,
Wait,
That's cool.
powdered mixes?
Yep, they make a powdered a powdered RC mix that you can get. That's like one of those, add to a thing of water to get your RC fix.
Okay.
And you can get them, and I add them to carbonated soda streams.
That's sweet.
It is.
That's super sweet. I immediately, because I'm a terrible person, was thinking about what it would smell like. But we're gonna move on. Number 4. Oh, do you know?
Yeah, well, I make the stuff, so it's RC soda. It smells like RC soda.
I was thinking the powder.
Oh, it actually doesn't have much smell.
Ah, okay. Number 4. What is an event you've always wanted to run for BABSCon but haven't had the chance to yet?
So I'm gonna say right now that I'm 2 for 2 in pie in the sky ideas that have been executed at BABSCon.
Ooh.
The first was using theme to tell an interactive story where the attendees determine the outcome.
Ooh.
And the second was getting the Brony Chef in to do kind of a restaurant thing.
Ooh.
And I managed to make both of those happen. I do have a thing I would like to do, but I don't have the full set of skills and knowledge to pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I could say the same thing about theme. Like, I didn't have the full... Like, the head of theme is more like a producer and less like a department head. So I didn't have any skills. I didn't understand how production as a discipline worked. No, what I want to do is I want to make use of Pepper's Ghost. You know what a Pepper's Ghost is? It's kind of like holograms before holograms for things, by using reflection of a glossy surface to create a thing. What you could do is use a screen or projector to create a Pepper's Ghost of a fictional character of some kind.
Ooh.
And you drive that with a computer and a voice recognition software a la Cortana or Alexa
Mhm.
or any of those, and you could theoretically do a help kiosk that is run by a pony,
Ooh.
where people could walk up, greet the pony, and ask for help from the pony.
So like Golden Gates could actually give you instructions on like how to get somewhere.
Correct. Yes.
That would be sweet.
And
You're reminding me of AI and Mass Effect.
yeah, well, kind of. It's more like AI from the last the most recent Time After Time movie. And like I know how to physically build the device, like I know how the reflections work, and I know how to, but I'm not a programmer. And I'm not a 3D modeler. And I don't have space to build the device in my apartment because I know how big it would need to be to make it work. But it's been it is one of those things that has been on my list of things to do, because once you build something like this, once you build the engine for something like this, you don't have to use a pony. You could have Shepard from Mass Effect at a sci-fi convention giving people direction to various vendors' booth and saying, this is my favorite vendor hall in all of conventions. There are things you could do. This technology that once you have the engine built, you could reskin it for almost any convention, anything. And so for years, because I came up with this concept back in like 2015, 2016, the idea of combining these different disciplines to make this. But I've had other things that have been a little more important, and I don't have the people. I don't know the people that I would need to know to be able to make this thing happen. But if I could find the people and they'd be willing to go in on this as like a potential long-term business thing, we could build a proof of concept for BABSCon. Because I could, all I'd have to do is say, hey, con chair, the board has something we want to test this year. Can we set this up someplace? And I could make that happen without like having to beg or talk to other con orgs and for this unproven technology, right? Like I wouldn't have to make a case to have an unproven piece of technology being used. I could take the unproven technology to an event I already can just set it up somewhere for. And once it starts to become a business and be profitable, then we could go and pitch it to other cons and make it a thing and make it a business. But I would need people to do that, and anyone involved in making that happen would instantly be like partners and part owners in whatever venture comes out of it.
Well, there you go. Sounds like we need volunteers and code monkeys. So by all means, send your info up to Doodle here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's Sophiana@babscon.com. It's pretty simple.
Boom. There we go. Let's make this happen. We're gonna meme this into existence. It's gonna be the new VTuber. It's gonna be sweet.
I have someone even asking me where they can send money for it. Set something up.
Oh.
It's like, seriously, like, I would love to have this thing done, because the hardest part is going to be getting the 3D modeling to match up to the voice response and the code to make it all happen. And anyway, it's something I've spent a lot of time. What was that?
There are lip sync programs out there that exist.
Face
they use a lot of them
one.
in like 3Teen and all those for VTubers.
Yeah. You just have to be able to have it accept a digital input rather than a microphone input.
Right.
And then you have to have the voice engine that pieces the parts of words together to create a final in sentence, a la what they do for Cortana and Alexa, and so on and so forth. Like it's a complicated thing. I don't know enough about the coding side of it to make it happen. So.
You could actually probably put into it, assuming you're in a proper green screen environment, like actually pipe to it a pre-recorded video of someone actually doing it and then map it onto the face
Yeah, that's what Face Rig does, actually.
Yeah, right. And so that would kind of get you halfway there, but like where you'd want to get to is like put in a string of text and out comes like the character saying it, right? Like that
Yeah, yeah.
would make the
Well,
most sense.
And there's technologies that will do that, but you have to get those technologies that do that aspect to talk to a rendering engine that renders on the fly the mannerisms and head movements and what like that. It's not just the voice thing and the voice thing talking to the program. It's the program that's hearing the voice stuff actually translating that into something that's visible and kind of human.
Mm-hmm.
There's a great project of someone who did something similar to this. If you guys have a moment, look up Cortana hologram device. Someone built basically almost exactly what I'm talking about, but they did it for Cortana.
Ooh.
As like a Cortana standalone device, a la like an Alexa Puck or whatever.
You could go the complicated route of, making all that, or you can use this cost-effective method that I just thought of, and you can pay me for the idea if you'd like.
Hey,
Well,
Priest.
Yeah.
What question are we on? She says, interrupting Enigma.
I was going to grab a question from the chat from Jay Sheffy, saying, "What was the best decision made for BABSLab so far, excluding you joining it, of course?"
Actually involving Ponytown.
Really?
Like straight up, because we had talked about ways to make the BABSLab more interactive, and because I'm all about interactivity, like I want the people watching panels or talking or being involved with panels to interact with the panelists more. Like I like removing that stage and that spotlight and putting it on the audience as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone matters and everyone has life experience.
Of course.
And something like Ponytown is a step in that right direction of making things more interactive and more user friendly in many respects. So that was probably one of the best decisions that we've made. I have to say, like, there were probably others, but I actually wasn't really involved in the planning of BABSLab this year. I was a little more involved in BabsConline, the first one, but I kind of took a back seat because eventually folks got to learn to stand without folks that have been here for a long time doing it, because that's the only way to get new blood in.
Yeah,
and
no,
I think
that's totally fair.
I think they've done a really good job. I'm actually really impressed with what they've put together.
Sometimes the best leadership is hands off,
Yep, delegation's good. Anyway.
Next question is, what is your favorite batch of alcohol you've made so far, and any recommendations for getting started?
If Milk is listening,
I assure you.
He needs to reach out to me with the second half of that question at some point when we're not on air, because there's a lot I can talk about. As far as what's my favorite, I honestly really like. I have two that I make that are my personal favorites. I make an ice cider, which is vanilla, cinnamon. It's for winter. It's like a winter ice cider.
Ooh.
And really heavily, very flavorful. It's just this amazing. It's just amazing. It's perfect for a cold winter's night sitting in front of a fireplace. It really is. And the other one is I make a maple agave mead.
Oh.
Which is
hell yes,
incredibly smooth because you have the maple and the agave, and like they have a certain texture to them that is just very clean and very smooth. On top of that mead, that like flavor that mead typically has. I believe it's technically a methyl glen. I could be pronouncing that wrong. But
I love meth.
It's amazing. Those are my two favorite things that I make. And I have a third honorable mention, which is the Wild Pegasus whiskey that I age.
I think I'm aware of this.
Yes,
I've heard
we have had the
legends.
opportunity.
I will be discussing how to make similar products at my panel tonight. So
Which everyone should attend. Everyone should attend it.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it's actually not as complicated as I've hinted at over the years because people have asked me, how do you make it? How do you make it so good? Or how do you make it taste like this? And I'm like, I can't tell you because if I did, the secret would be out. Well, I've decided to let the secret out. So it's stupid alcohol chemistry.
Dun
is what it
dun
really is.
dun. Up next, number 6. With some conventions starting to come back, what is the first thing you want to do when you attend the conventions post-COVID?
So my plan is to go to Everfree for the first time ever this year.
We can
because
hug! We'll be there.
Because yes, and that I was going to say that is the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to track down people I know who I have missed so much, and like I'm never going to let them go
Aww.
because I have missed them. Like I talk with Fiora regularly. Like I play in her Warhammer. Her runs occasionally, so often Warhammer campaign, and she plays in a D&D campaign we're both in. But like I have missed just hanging out with her, and usually at conventions we're both at, we share bartending duties, and we go out for food, and like half the crazy shit both of us get up to usually comes out of those meetings because we will sit around and brainstorm and come up with the craziest shit, and then we'll go away and we'll make it happen. It's where it's where a significant number of her panels have come from, actually. So in a significant number of my panels, that the few panels I have run. So I miss that kind of interaction. I miss being I miss being at a hotel full of people that are having a blast. And so hugs, lots of hugs. I'm looking forward to lots and lots of hugs.
I am 100% in the same boat where I just miss, those down times when you've already seen the vendor hall, you're waiting for food to come, like maybe food's being delivered or something, you're just hanging out in the room and you throw on some memes on the computer and just hanging out with your friends like that. I miss that. I do.
Y'all are hanging out with friends?
I usually track down the weirdest local restaurants to go to. My first year at Cider Fest, I introduced a bunch of people who had never been to a themed restaurant to the Safe House. Where in order to actually get to the restaurant, you have to know the password. Like you walk in, it looks like a little international export office. Ooh. Because it's a Cold War themed restaurant, and you have to know the password for them to open the secret door to let you into the restaurant.
That's so cool.
Oh, it's a speakeasy.
Kind of, except it's more like a Cold War safe house.
Mm-hmm.
It's the name of the thing. But it is by far one of my favorite restaurants, and I love going to unusual restaurants like that. I'm all about living and experiencing life because we're only here for so long. And if you're not truly experiencing life, if you're not going out of your way to look at the weird things or the unusual things or the unusual experiences you can have, you're not entirely living. If you just kind of go through the motions, you're not really enriching yourself as much as you possibly could.
I completely agree.
Way to throw diss at me.
Hey. If that's the life you want to live, more power to you if that's the life you want to live. But there's so much more out there, and there's not enough years to experience it all. And I want to experience as much of it as I can. Even if I end up dying poor, I'd rather die poor and having lived a rich life than die rich and have played it safe.
It's true. And sometimes that means you gotta get your hands dirty a little bit and, experience some pain.
Take chances, make mistakes, get messy.
I have a ton of injuries that speak to that philosophy.
Be gay, do crimes.
Yes,
don't actually do crimes.
Be gay, do crimes.
Up next, we got questions from Ravvij. Number 1, is there a question you wish people would ask you?
I have done so many things in my life that it's really hard for me to just think of something that hasn't been asked. I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's questions and experiences and things I've done that people don't normally hear about. Like the fact that I garden. Like we had a nice long talk before the thing started about like my garden and how on my little 5x9 patio I'm producing about 50% of the vegetables I eat in my life. And I don't get to talk about just like daily things like that most of the time. You know, people always want to know, how do you make a lightsaber? Well, I know how to make a lightsaber. It's a lot of soldering and a lot of careful work and effort and you know, working with metal and working with electronics and like that's cool spotlighty kind of stuff, but no one ever asks me like, how do you make context lighting for your simpit? Like no one ever asks me that. They always want to know about the flashy stuff that they see on stage kind of thing. You know, they don't the basic stuff. If that makes any sense.
No, I get you, because no matter what hobby you go into, there's tons of little tiny decisions that led you into like the idiosyncrasies of what you're doing right now. Like a perfect example is this podcast where like we started as having just a bunch of people in a Skype room, and it was a nightmare. And then slowly over time, like how we evolved, we found like little things that we could do to try and improve things, like not talking over each other. Isn't that right, Pencil?
I mean,
Yeah, so that's what
Nice.
we've got going. I'm sorry.
I mean, anyway.
Up next, if you were to make a crossover, any crossover whatsoever, without any repercussions, what would it be about?
You know, this has come up in my conversations with Fee actually several times. And I'll be watching a television series and I'll be like, I could cross that over with ponies. And so it comes up. I think the most recent one was wanting to do like a Picard-esque MLP crossover with Twilight Sparkle as like the ruler that's been around for a while and hasn't been out adventuring and suddenly has to go out adventuring and has to reconnect with the rest of the Equestria. Like that's been kind of on my mind. I don't know if I'd write it, but like it's a great idea. So if anyone wants to do something like that, like by all means, you know, with all of her friends having moved on in their lives and then her having to like, oh my God, I have to go out and actually like adventure and do something. And I don't know what the world's really like because I've been ruling so long. I've been up on high so long. I don't know what day-to-day life is like anymore. And that would be interesting to me.
Oh, I think that's fair. Just going through these last sets of questions, we've got a handful of questions from Rav and Pencil, and I wanted to ask them, since they're right here, quickly, if there's any in particular they wanted to ask, or if we wanted to, with our last 20 minutes, do our crowd participation, never have I ever at a con game.
I would love to do that. Rav, are any of these questions you're really attached to that you want to ask?
Yes.
Which one would you like
Just
to ask,
the
my
one.
dear?
Go for it.
I'll keep mine
If
to
you
one
could
second.
start an interstellar war between any two factions, who would they be and why?
Ooh, Rav, good. Good.
That's a good one. If we're talking interstellar factions, I'm actually going to do a callback to BattleTech.
Nice.
And back during the aftermath of the clan war, the aftermath of what was known as the Refusal War, which was a big war between Wolf Clan and Jade Falcon. I think Wolf Clan kind of got screwed in that, and there needs to be a rematch. Like Wolf Clan got seriously screwed in that, and they should have fought better and come out on more on ahead than what actually ended up happening. So that would be, if I had to start an interstellar war, it would be between Wolf Clan and Jade Falcon, again, because I'm a Wolf loyalist, and the Falcons needed to be taken down.
Nice.
Sweet. Well, then Without further ado, we're going to enter
Okay.
the final part of the panel. Pencil, would you like to take it?
Okay. I wanted to ask my question. We both got one.
Go for it.
Yeah, my simple question is, do you have any plans for further confusion this year? So I know what to look for.
I want to do another room party. BABSCon always has a room party. I actually have been working. Go ahead.
I will donate alcohol to that. I will absolutely make a bottle of something and I will donate it to you if you want.
Sweet, thank you. My plan is, like, for years I've been trying to up our ambience game. Like, I've wanted to have more decorations. I've wanted to have more things that bring, again, it's all about bringing that slice of Equestria to our room party. And so one of the things that we're working on, and they've been built, but they need to be worked on a little bit more. Like, I didn't build them. It was just my idea. Was building stained glass picture frames. So they're actually not stained glass, but they are vinyl prints on a glass surface in a picture frame that are backlit. And the stained glass images are the stained glass we see in the Hall of the Royal Pony Sisters.
Wow.
Nice.
That would be fucking amazing. I'm sorry, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, oh yeah, and like they've been a thing I've wanted to do for our room party for a while, and we finally figured out how to do them. And they put them together, and the frames wouldn't hold together for 2019's FurCon. So we didn't have them because, like, we didn't have a solution on how to hold the frames together, and we only figured that out after I only figured it out, like, actually at that 2019 party, was that I figured out how we could reinforce the frame to hold them together. But I have a few other bits of decoration and lighting foolishness I want to bring into that, because I'm excited. I want to make our room party like to be the envy. Like, our bar menu is already the envy of most other room parties there. So the next step is to get the decor to be equally as envy worthy.
Fair. I think that's fair. That's all, Priest. That's all I wanted to ask. Did you want me to read in our final feature?
Go for it.
All right, we're going to play a little game, which I'm sure some of you know, called Never Have I Ever. Now, the rule is this. We're going to have to, like, anytime somebody says, I have never blank, and we're going to go in order. Anytime somebody says, I have never blank, and you've done the thing, you got to put a finger down. In this case, you're saying out loud, I've done it. We'll go in order, and we'll say I've done it or I haven't. If there's a good story, tell a story real quick. If there isn't, you can just mumble about it. If you don't feel like it, you can just mumble about it. That's fine.
Is this limited to anything or just con specific?
Here's the thing. It has to be something related to conventions. That's the only thing. It's just got to be related to con. So, like, example, never have I ever thrown up at a pony convention.
Oh, that's got me.
And that's probably what I'll use for my first one. Because I know I'm going to get somebody out with it. And we're going to ask our guests these questions too. And you in the chat, once we go through all of our questions in an order, before we go and start over again, if we have time, we're going to ask a question from any of you in the chat. We're going to pick one. So if you have a question and something you've never done at a con, post never have I ever blank, and you'll find out if we've done it. Does everyone feel fair on these rules? Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, then let us begin. Priest, don't forget to add you and our guest. I see.
I've got it.
All right. Never have I ever thrown up at a con. I have not. Diamond?
I have, actually.
All
I
right.
had food poisoning one year.
Oh, shit.
Ah.
Enigma?
I have not.
Flam?
I have not.
Priest?
I definitely have. I had a little too much of the alcohol.
Rav?
Nope.
All right. I got two.
Enigma, you're up next.
Well, our guest is up next, technically.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Alphabetical.
Okay. Never have I run across our con chair dressed in a leopard print speedo.
Hold on. You tell me you actually have done this. You're not allowed to say things you've done, but tell me you've actually done this.
I have not.
Never done it.
Weirdly, I have not actually done this. I know it's happened though.
I have never done this.
Oh my
Enigma-
gosh.
Enigma, have you done this?
No.
I don't know. You've had some weird times at HRPC, for all I know, man. Because I mean, you guys went to a swim party. Was any of the con chairs there in a speedo?
No, they were
Yes!
there.
Oh my gosh! Who was it? I remember.
What?
It was a whole thing. It was a joke. It was okay. So down at the end, there was someone. There was someone on con staff. It wasn't a chair, but they were wearing a speedo. It was a whole thing.
Was somebody wearing a screen speedo? I seem to recall this.
I don't remember. Either way, you're gonna get me for that one.
Flam, have you?
No, I don't even recall that shit, and I was at that quote-unquote pool party. Everyone was just dressed kind of hanging out at the jacuzzi with their feet in.
I was passed out with a fever, so it was fine. Rav, what about you?
No, this doesn't sound familiar to me at all.
All right.
Now, Enigma.
What haven't
So-
you done?
So I'm saying something I have done or not done?
You have
Not
to say
done.
something you have not done. That's the rules. You can't say
Okay.
what you have
Oh,
done. It's too easy.
never have I ever, for a reason.
Never have I ever accidentally pushed someone at a convention.
You absolutely have.
When did that happen? I don't remember
You
that.
accidentally pushed me, and Kate Bug turned around and was ready to fuck you the fuck up.
No. I tapped you on the shoulder. I did not shove you.
Mm-hmm. You also accidentally hit me in the face at a convention.
That
was yeah.
You punched me in the face at a convention.
I witnessed that.
accidentally.
Hey, you didn't say accidentally. I say you pick a different one.
Okay, fine. Let me. Never have I ever eaten someone else's food.
Ooh, okay.
At a convention?
Yeah, at a convention.
Okay, pencil.
I think I have. I absolutely have. I know exactly what the incident. I have. It was at Sac Brony Fest, I believe it was what it was called before BABSCon, and we ordered pizza, and somebody called dibs on the last slices. I didn't know it. I ate them all. So there you go.
Shame.
So
You should be
unwittingly,
ashamed.
because I remember our first BABSCon together, and you made meat pies.
Yeah.
So I mean, does that count? Because you
Well,
distributed them amongst us, or
I
are we
made the
talking
pie
unwittingly?
specifically for you.
No.
Seriously.
It, like food that was intended for someone else, you intercepted it.
Oh, then no.
What about our lovely guest?
I never have actually.
Ooh. Preeti Pie, have you?
I'm typically the one
I
getting the
have. I remember there was a point when like Milk and Snoo, they bought some, like, I think they got pizza, and then they went out for a bunch of other meals, and it was like the last day, and there was just this slice of pizza, and I was hungry, and I ate it. And I'm not ashamed to say I stole food.
Good job, Rav.
Don't think so. You guys always give me your leftovers.
That's absolutely true. We force feed Rav our leftovers. Okay. Flammenwerfer, your turn.
Okay. And this may surprise some people. Never have I ever met a new friend at a con that I'm still actively talking to.
Well,
Ooh.
I mean,
That I can openly say that is not true. Diamond.
I can honestly say that I have definitely met people I'm still friends with at cons.
Okay, so it's both me and you. Enigma.
Fiora maybe counts, and maybe Horizon as well.
Oh yeah, Horizon absolutely counts for you.
Because I recognized Horizon before anyone else did.
You
I
absolutely.
hired Horizon at a con.
Yeah, it counts. Priest, what about you? Ha 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 ha.
I don't know, Pencil. Are we friends?
Fuck you, man.
She just forces you against the wall, wow, and kisses you, wow, what a great friend.
Actually, what happened? Actually, what occurred? Genuinely, what happened? Kissed him on the mouth. He was like, "Huh? I wonder what that means." Because he's a. Okay, I'm done. Rav, what about you at a con?
Say that again. Sorry.
But Rav, I met you at a con. I know the answer.
Yeah,
No.
no. I've met quite a few of my friends at cons, so.
I've known Rav longer than anyone on this group, so there you go. All right. Good one, Flam. Fuck you for that. Priest, what do you got?
Okay. Never have I ever done a panel incredibly drunk.
You fucking targeted that, didn't you, son of a bitch?
Pencil?
I was pretty drunk one time, and it was one of the late night ones. I don't know if that I've gotten drunker. You guys have seen me get drunker. Does that count? Actually asking.
I feel like I've done a panel tipsy before, but not drunk.
I was drunk, but I wasn't as drunk as like Flam escorting me to my bedroom.
I'm gonna count you for that.
Okay.
Doodle?
Did I escort you to your bedroom?
I honestly have never done a panel when I've been drunk.
Oh man,
Wow.
it's the experience.
Despite having made people drunk at panels, I myself have been sober.
Flam, to clarify, do you remember when I flashed Enigma?
That wasn't at a con.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, I wasn't that drunk is my point.
No. That's why I'm trying to rack my brain. Like, did I escort you to your sleeping quarters when you were drunk?
Not at a con.
Yeah.
No, she was drunk, and then she started going in this long rant that had no end, but it was
Tirade. It was a tirade. Let's be clear.
It was a thing.
But yeah, Flam, have you been drunk for a panel before, my dear?
The long yard in Vegas is no joke. Be careful with that shit.
Yeah, yes.
It is delicious, but be careful.
I was proud of you. You pounded that yard of alcohol, and then we went and read bad fan fiction, and you were just lit.
And you were like, let me tell you about my ex-girlfriend.
No, that's actually, I remember vividly about that part. I was gonna make that. I was making a joke, just like my ex, and then you guys stopped it there, and I wasn't gonna go on a tangent about her.
No, it was just like, let me tell you something about my ex relationship, and I was just like, nope, too drunk to make that decision. No.
It's actually, I rewatched the video of that. It wasn't exactly like that, but it was close.
Oh man. Priest, have you been smash sloshed? You said no. Rav,
no.
Have you been smash sloshed?
At a panel, I've been mildly drunk, but not like what you're insinuating.
Okay.
I see you guys all skipped me.
Well, Enigma, you don't get drunk.
That's true. I've never gotten drunk. I've gotten tipsy, but never drunk.
I do want to get you
chicken
proper
shit.
drunk one time. I do. I'll tell you what.
Bring him to my room party.
I'll just say, hey Enigma, next month, want me to get you proper drunk?
Yeah, sure. And
All
record. I don't know what kind of drunk I am. Am I a sad drunk? A happy drunk?
I don't know. We'll find that out, won't we?
Yeah, I'll be excited to do it. We have the alcohol. I'll absolutely do that. We'll do it in a safe environment. Absolutely, yes.
All right.
Yeah. All right, ravioli. Give me the question, Oli.
All right, I'll hit a number of you with this classic one. Never have I ever had sex at a con.
You know what?
You asshole!
It took that long.
Well, Pencil.
Okay, I've definitely had sex at. Oh God, 1, 2, 3. I've had sex at 4 pony convention.
I've had sex at 4 pony conventions.
Coinkydink?
Doodle, what about you?
I can honestly say I have never had sex at a pony con or at any con.
Any con? Yeah, not even like a fur con?
No.
Wow,
I'm usually too tired.
But say you're probably too busy. Right?
Yeah. I mean, despite my boyfriend having been here for like 4 or 5 of the last several BABScons, like I'm just too wiped out to do anything. It's like I flop into bed and I'm out cold until the radio goes off asking for me.
Somewhere around here, I have a come to BabsCon condom.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
We did not use those. We brought our own.
Yeah, I remember when those get like the first BabsCon. We were like, Who the hell is making Golden Gates condoms? Like, the entire staff were trying to figure out who the hell was making the condoms.
On the message boards, we found someone had stapled one to the message boards, and we all made a joke. We all made a joke.
Yes.
God, I hope no one takes that. And we came back midday, and someone had taken it. I was like, I hope no one fucking uses that. Jesus Christ.
I remember seeing that picture and being like vaguely horrified that someone would take that. Like,
And here, son, is a picture of your conception.
Oh my fucking Christ. Anyway.
Oh, but we should clarify. Enigma, did you? Oh, wait, no. Okay, Flam?
Boy, I sure wish.
If Flam got laid at a con, I would have known about it. I'm sorry. Because he would have come down the stairs looking like he'd just been shot. I'm sure.
What? Oh, okay. First thing, Priest, take a wild fucking guess.
No.
And secondly, that's curious, Pencil. Why that look? Why the fucking trench look PTSD look?
Because, honey, you're not ready. You're not ready. You're not ready for it. You're not just like getting a shot to the abdomen. You're not ready for it.
Speaking of not ready, now it's time for the lovely folks out in the chats. Never have I ever's. As
Jay wants to know. Yeah, man.
Yes.
I was gonna say there's one in the Lunar Deck text chat by Real Gas 08.
Ooh, we'll do both. Absolutely. Would you like to read yours first?
Sure. I actually can't read this one though.
Oh no. It's for all of us. Don't worry.
Okay.
So
go for it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Never have I ever. Religous08 says, have I cross-played? And I believe that is where you cosplay as a different gender, right?
Correct.
I absolutely have. This is just straight up fact. I have.
Nope. I don't think I've even cosplayed.
So, conventions were my safe place to be female before I transition. So
Fuck
yes,
yeah.
I have.
Fuck yeah. Okay. Non-binary person says fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I've cross-dressed before, but never at a convention.
You cross-dressed before BABSCon one year. Does that count?
No. The only time
It's at the convention.
Yeah, that lasted like 20 minutes too.
That's true, because he couldn't stand being in a bra, the bitch.
Right? Come on.
Okay.
Guys think they're so tough until they have to wear a fucking bra.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't just that. It wasn't just that I was
Or a
uncomfortable.
corset.
Okay.
It wasn't that I was just uncomfortable. It was also that I was looking in the mirror. I was like, I'm not my type.
Hold up. As someone who has worn women's clothing.
He looked good, okay?
As someone who has worn women's clothing, the bra is not bad. The corset is not bad. The heels, that sucks.
Okay, fair enough. I can't wear heels because my ankles are like fucked. So
You got that hair, hips, nail, heel. Sorry. Oh, now we have a question. One more question from the chat. Never have I ever thought that's less people than I thought at a con.
I have.
I have. Panel wise, I thought that.
I honestly have. I've been to a few cons that were seriously hyped by people around me, and then I've gone to them and been like, "There's more people. There were more people in the audience at Comic-Con when I was on stage doing lightsaber choreography at midnight than there are at this con."
Mm-hmm. There was, not to cut you off. Sorry.
No, it's all good. Go for it.
There was a particular con that I went to. I believe even Pencil went with me.
That's what I'm thinking of.
And it was a very, very. I was looking forward to it. It was a nice time. Like we road trip to it. We had panels there. It was very, very nice. But the attendance couldn't have been more than 50 people. It was a very concerning affair, and I mean it worked out. But it was a good time. But that con did not survive.
And I believe we are. Because I'm gonna go through real quick. Doodle, you said you've thought that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
couple of conventions that have
Um,
been like that.
Enigma, have you thought that before?
Are we allowed to name names?
No.
No.
Well, I'm not going to name the name, but they did have one event where when I went in, there was like a handful of people for an entire huge ass room.
Flam, have you thought that?
Oh, actually, I've been surprised. Wow, there's a lot more people here than I thought there would be.
Well, I'm glad for you. Priest, have you thought that?
Yes. I marked it down.
Rav, have you thought that?
Oh yeah.
All right. Then that is our time. I got to ask who won and who lost.
Well, it's actually a tie between you and me and Anonpencil at 6 things. And
Okay,
then
yeah,
the winners of the evening that apparently are Sticks in the Mud is Enigmatic, Otaku, and Flam.
We won? I thought we lose.
Well, I'm going to get you drunk next month and we'll fix some of those.
With that said, though, Doodle,
Wait,
thank
what?
you so much for taking time out of your BABSLab to join us.
Poor thing. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you guys. So
It's a pleasure to hang out with you. And with that in mind, if you guys want enjoy our banter, we regularly interview people over on our Twitch, which is you can find at thebarcast.net. It has all the links to all the things, so you can see all the cool stuff, including when we got the opportunity to interview John Delancey, Andrea Lemon, Dusty Cat, and many, 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 many more. And without further ado, I think next week we're actually playing video games, so, subscribe for Among Us. Don't
Good.
actually. Please do.
Truly,
Please do.
a
Please
mongoose
do.
moment.
Mongoose.
Among all us.
A mongoose.
Anyway, we need to get off because
mongoose.
there's other people who want on here, and we need to thank our lovely, 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 lovely guest.
And thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful BABSLab. It's
Thank you,
Anonpencil,
Thank you, Doodle.
Enigma,
Have a time.
Flam,
Yee.
Rav,
Amogus.
Doodle.
anytime, guys. You guys all enjoy BABSLab too, okay? Have
Will
fun.
do. And my name's Flutterpriest, and I'm gonna keep talking until the audio guy cuts me off, because that's what I do! I am a menace!